In this video, we are going to work the following word problem. It says find three consecutive integers so that the first plus twice the second is twice the third. All right. Okay, so step number one, right, in these word problems is to ask what are they looking for. Okay. Again, go right to that part. It says find three consecutive even integers. Okay, so we've identified what they want. So we're going to have, let me make sure I save a little room here. And remember, integer means whole number, basically, right? You can think of that as a whole number, right? It's really a whole number, plus the negatives of the whole numbers. But we're asked to find three consecutive. So three different things they're asking us for here in this problem. All right, so identify the things that we're after here. All right, so next up, what you want to do is label one of those things with a variable. That was step two, right, in that general framework that I showed you. So I'm going to label this first integer as x, okay? So now you might think, well, I'll label these with other variables too, but you don't want to do that, okay? So what you want to do is express these other things in terms of this variable right here, okay? All right. So let's just take a look at a specific example and kind of see how we would do that. They're asking us for three consecutive even integers. So let's say the first one is 4, right? The next would be 6, right? And then the next one would be 8, right? So those are three consecutive, one right after the other, even numbers, right? How they appear in the usual order. Another example, specific example, would be, say, maybe there are 18, 20, and 22. Those are three consecutive, right, even integers. Like so. So that's what they kind of look like. And if you could look at lots of different examples, but you'll always notice, right, if they're going to be consecutive, even, right, the second one always has to be 2 bigger than the first one. All right. So what you want to do is you kind of have to notice that pattern. Once you see it the first time, it's a little bit easier if you haven't seen it before. So whatever the first one is, you just add 2 to it, right, to get the second one. That's how it's going to be if you look at some examples like that. So here what I'm doing is expressing the second thing I'm trying to find in terms of this variable that I used for the first one. Okay. All right, looking at the third one, right, you can probably see the pattern. It's going to be 2 more than the second one, or 4 more, right, than the first one, right? So 4 plus 4 is 8, 18 plus 4 is 22. So the third one, right, I need to write that in terms of x, right? So that would be x plus 4. Okay? So sometimes if you're having trouble, it might help to take a look at a specific example, right? Just to kind of get your thinking straight about how this should go. But you really want to express this in more general terms, right? You want to express these in terms of this variable here, right? If we know what those are ahead of time, then we don't really need algebra, right, to figure it out. Okay. All right, so now that we've labeled all of the things that we are looking for in terms of this variable, now it's time to write the equation. Okay, and so here they start telling us about the equation. It says the first one plus twice the second. Okay, so the first one would be x, right? Plus twice, which is 2 times the second, and the second is x plus 2. Okay. All right, so that is the first one plus twice the second. All right, is, right, which is like the equals. Twice the third. So that's going to be very similar to this, right? Except it's going to be the third one. So twice, and the third is x plus 4. Okay? All right, so there is our equation. Next up, what we want to do is to solve that equation. All right, so remember the first thing that we will do is to simplify both sides as much as possible. So we can do that by distributing the 2 through the parentheses over here on the left side and distributing the 2 through the parentheses over on the right hand side. So on the left hand side we have x plus 2x plus 4. Over on the right hand side we have 2x plus 8 after we do the distributing. All right, next up, simplifying over on the left side, I have some like terms. I have 1x here plus 2x's here. So altogether, that's going to give me 3x's when I combine those like terms. And the right-hand side is as simple as we can get it. Okay, so I have each side as simple as I can get it. So now what I want to do is use the addition principle, right, to add or subtract the same thing from both sides. And what I want to do is get everything with an x on one side and everything without an x on the other side. So one way to do that would be to subtract 2x from both sides. That would give me x plus 4 equals 8. That gets all of the x's over on the left side. And I want all of the terms without an x, like this 4, I want it moved over here. Okay, so I will subtract 4 from both sides. And I wind up with x equals 4. Okay, so there we go. We know that the first integer is 4. Okay. So that brings us to the last step, and the last step is make sure that you answer the question. What is it exactly that they are asking for? And right here it says find 3 consecutive even integers. So not only do they want to know what x is, right, the first one, we will also need to figure out what the second one is and what the third one is. Okay, but really you've already done most of the hard work when you labeled these. So the second integer, right, was x plus 2. And now we know that x, right, is equal to 4. So it would be 4 plus 2. Here, this one, you probably already immediately know that the other two are 6 and 8, right? But just if you had a more complicated problem, right, what you could, what you do is take this number and you would put it back into this expression. So likewise, the third integer would be x plus 4. All right, and we know that x is 4, so that comes out to be 8. So our answer here, right, our 3 answers are 4, 6, and 8 on this one. All right, and that's it for this example.